Lady Day at Emerson's is a glimpse into the last 4 months of her life. It's a concert. It's a sharing of her story with an audience in a place that she feels safe and comfortable, and a place that she feels like is home. So Lady Day is a nickname for the great Billie Holiday. She was given that nickname by one of her best friends, Lester Young, who was a tenor saxophone player. And she is a giant of the music world, the music industry, influencing literally everyone who came after her. She's a heroine, but she's like an unsung heroine. Her voice, she understood her voice. And I think she's probably one of the first people in the industry, in the modern industry rather, that would actually understand her voice and what her voice could do and what her voice couldn't do, and accepted the imperfections of her voice to a point where you didn't even realize that they were imperfections. Because when you listened to it, it was just like something otherworldly coming out of this woman that you'd never heard before, and it sounded so good, and you really couldn't put your finger on it, but she knew exactly how to manipulate it and control the room. I was watching an interview of Audra Day, who played this character. Not Audra Day, Audra McDonald. Thank you. Audra McDonald, who played this on Broadway. And in her acceptance speech, she won the Tony for it. And in her acceptance speech, she said, "You deserve so much more than this world gave you." And I think that's what I would want people to take away is, I think some people just know of her crime life and her drug addiction and alcoholism and all of the drama that came with that. Some people just know her for the flowers in her hair and her records that she cut, but there was an entire human in there that had so much to give this world, and did give this world every single night, no matter what she was going through. And I would hope that people would take that away, just that there's so much, she deserves so much more than she received. I am not of the jazz world. It is not easy for me. This is by far the most challenging thing that I've ever done on stage, but it's a good challenge. It's a very rewarding challenge. I think jazz is different for me because it's so free, and I'm not used to that. I think I'm used to a roadmap, and you follow the roadmap. And then once you get that roadmap down, you can tweak it here and there. You can take a shortcut or so if you're, careful or whatever. But with jazz, there's like 75 different directions that you can go, and you'll end up in the destination. And that freedom is awesome, but it's intimidating. I hope that they will feel like they're a part of the show. I hope that they will feel like they've been taken back in time. I hope that they will feel that Billie is there. And I hope that they enjoy it. I hope their hearts break a little bit. The hard truths are that Strange Fruit, her song Strange Fruit, literally ignited the civil rights movement. It literally shook everyone who would dare sing a song about lynching, who would dare sing a song that painted that sort of picture, comparing bodies to fruit off of a tree. But the hard truth is that you could drive through the South at that time. You could walk through a pasture or forest of trees, and you would see that. You would see that strange fruit. You would smell that strange fruit. And she was bold enough and brave enough to sing it, and sing it right at you, and dare you to get up while she was singing it.
Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill is basically a performance from the great Billie Holiday. And this musical will definitely give you some insight into more of her journey as a professional singer. She's a very polarizing figure. I didn't, until I decided to work this musical, I didn't know much about her personal life and, some of her struggles and what drove the passion towards her sound. So, that's been great to learn about, and it's definitely given me more insight, as a musician of her work. It was very surprising to find out that she was kind of like, we call it one of the cats in the jazz world. A lot of times when you work with vocalists, sometimes they're kind of, I don't want to say diva-ish or like they're kind of their own entity within themselves, but she was like a musician as well. She really like transcribed horn players and stuff of that sort, actually like, hung with the cats at jam sessions. And it was like, she was like a musician as well, other than just a vocalist. Her legacy would be her overall sound. You can feel her music through her voice, the inflections that she uses on certain notes. And there's a lot of vocalists that try to emulate that. Some come very close, but she has a specific, distinct sound that I feel will live on forever. I studied jazz at ECU, and I've done tons of gigs, lots of jazz gigs. So this is already kind of in my realm as far as a musician. And when John gave me the call for this, I was like, yeah, man, I'll definitely be open to it. Hopefully it can work with my schedule and everything. But I've always been intrigued into her music. I didn't really dig really deep into her music until this musical, but I've definitely played a few of her tunes and everything. So it just intrigued me. I was like, I think this is going to be a great opportunity to work, with a good cast and, great band. So back then that she had that relationship with the piano player, Jimmy. So I think that kind of made her sound what it was. And then the cats that were playing behind her at that time made her music really come to life. So it's very important. Ciara is awesome. She's like, for her to, just come in and like really embody this character is phenomenal. For somebody that isn't really a part of the jazz world, like, she's doing a great job. A lot of people know the name Billie Holiday, but I hope they walk away understanding her a little more and her journey as a singer and vocalist and musician. I hope that they get a little more insight to the person versus just the vocalist as well. Oh man, I think her songs definitely evoked a lot of change for the times. I think that they inspired a lot of other vocalists as well to, write and compose styles that were similar to hers. I think that her songs really resonated with people, because of the lyricism and just her overall sound that she had and the power that she evoked through her music.
What you'll be experiencing is an evening with Billie Holiday. And this is very late in her career, and it's actually taking place 2 months before she died. What I've heard is that the author of the script actually came across someone, met someone who told him about an experience they had where they saw Billie Holiday in Philly, and it was 2 months before she died, in a really small little club. There were probably maybe 12 people in attendance. And this is what the author came up with. She's going to tell us a lot about her life story. She's going to sing the songs that she was famous for, the things that we loved hearing Billie Holiday sing. She's performing with a rhythm section, piano, bass, and drums, who are top notch. As the night progresses, Billie Holiday, of course, is probably started at this time in her life. She's probably started drinking very early in the day. So we'll feel that at the beginning. But as the evening progresses, she gets a little bit more drunk. And she has some funny stories to tell about her life. She tells us a little bit about how she grew up. She tells us a lot about her mom, a lot about the career that she had. Well, Billie Holiday and the whole jazz era is a very interesting time. And she came up during that time. She was influenced by Louis Armstrong and Bessie Smith. She was coming up and beginning to sing just during the time when jazz was beginning to really make a showing, when Harlem was the place to go. And Billie Holiday was one of the first artists to integrate concert She brought blacks and whites together to hear the music. Then she worked at the Cafe Society, which was a really wonderful club where it was completely integrated. So what she did for music is she introduced a brand new style. Nobody had heard this voice before. This phrasing that she had, her ability to listen to the horn players and create a vocal line that felt like a musical instrument. She came up in clubs where she would go around to different tables, and it was a speakeasy. It was during Prohibition, so they had no microphones. So she would go around to each different table. She would sing the same song to the different tables, and she'd sing it in a different way to each table. And that's where she got noticed, at a place called Pod and Jerry's. Well, the live band is a great piece of it, but it's really a play with music. The emotional journey that she takes us through is really the important part, and the telling of her story. Billie Holiday's song Strange Fruit was one of the very, very first protest songs. It was one of the first, and it was written for her, and she sang it at Cafe Society. One of the reasons why the FBI was on her case was because she wouldn't stop singing that song. She couldn't initially be able to get her recording company to produce it, so she went to another recording company, and then it hit the airwaves, but she wouldn't stop singing it. And that's one of the reasons why she had a lot of the troubles that she had. It's a song about a lynching in the South. And for the time, it was really, really hard for a lot of people to hear. But so perfectly placed in time because of how things were progressing. It's really important that people know what we've come through as a society and how close we are still to that. So I do think that this play will give us a picture of that. It's going to give us a picture of a woman who, there are rumors, and then there's the truth. And it's really hard to know, but one of the things that Billie Holiday was known for is it's just because of press. Had she never been arrested for shooting up heroin, there are a lot of people in white America who never would have known who she was. People who weren't jazz music, but she became a household name for those reasons. And that was also what happened for the FBI. They got a lot of good high press for going after these African Americans with their, reefers and their heroin. And that's an important part, an important piece of the story when you start to learn about Billie Holiday's life. You learn about a really hard life, but a woman who stood strong and was herself and presented herself in a very unique, different, and proud way, and carried that through even to this last performance just 2 months before her death. You're gonna see some sloppy things. You're gonna hear some bad words. You're gonna hear some stories that you wouldn't expect to hear with an entertainer on the stage talking to you. But you're gonna hear truth, and you're gonna see truth. That's what you're gonna see. But there's also a really great band. And these are some of the best jazz musicians in our area. These are working jazz musicians. We are so lucky to have them. They are just gonna, we are just gonna have a production that is just way up here. It's gonna be exciting, it's gonna be fun. Everybody should come and see it.